How do you do? Storyteller here. Now this video is mainly meant for the Southward Angel, but it's pretty much for anyone who wants to watch to learn how I make Eggs Benedict. So what we have here are all of the ingredients you're going to need to make it. I have sliced cheese here. You can use any type you like, but I like to use American cheese. Over here I have sliced deli turkey. Some people like to use, Some people like to use ham, other people like to use bacon. You can use whatever you like. Here I have eggs. You're going to need at least 3 of them here. Then I have butter. Trust me, you're not going to use all that, but just some butter. Then I have lemon juice. And I have a loaf of bread here. You're only going to need 1 slice. Or 2, depending on how many people you're making this for. But if it's 1 person, just need 1 slice. Then I have here some spices. These are just the spices that I like to use, but you can use, again, whatever you like. But I have black pepper, parsley, garlic, and special that I use is a little bit of sriracha powder. And then over here, I have a lot of junk, but other than that, I have the pans and utensils you're going to need to make this. First I have a glass dish. Some people use metal, but this is what I cook the egg in, just because I like using the glass dish. Then you're going to need something, you don't need this particularly, but you need something round you'll be able to cut things out with. You don't need to do this, but it's a nice touch. It makes it look a lot nicer. You're going to need a whisk. One of the few times in cooking you ever use a whisk. And then you need a pan, preferably a small pan, but just deep enough that you're going to fill with water. Most of these things are going to be clean by the time you're done with them, but this just gets filled with water, so just make sure it's deep enough to do that. And then you're going to need a little saucepan, because you're going to mix up your hollandaise sauce in that. But I'll talk about that more later. Okay, so first we're going to have to separate 2 eggs. There are many ways you can do this, but this is the way I do it, and if you're preparing for yourself or someone close to you, this way is fine. If you're preparing for somebody you don't really know too well, I would suggest separating eggs the traditional way, shell to shell, but I personally, because, you know, cooking is all about messes and dealing with things, so when you open the egg, just making sure you can see, just empty it out in your hand, and then spread your fingers a little bit, and just shake, and all you're going to be left with, if this works, all you're going to be left with is the yolk. And you're going to drop that right in your pan. You're going to do that twice. You need 2 eggs, just the yolks, in the pan. This is the saucepan. So a lot of mess. That's why I'm doing this in the sink. But, you know, we can wash our hands afterwards, but cooking is about getting a little messy. That's just part of how it is. Move that back a little bit. Make sure to wash up your hands, blah, blah, blah. Don't want to get salmonella poisoning or give it to anybody else, so make sure to wash your hands well, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now we have our 2 egg yolks in the pan. We're going to add our lemon, and you're going to want to add a nice hearty amount of this. I mean, don't drown your family in lemon, but you want a good amount in there. So don't be afraid to use a good amount and then stop, and later on add more if you think you need it. But don't be afraid to be a little generous with it, because the more lemon there is in here, the better it is, trust me. Then in this pan, we're just going to add a little bit of cracked pepper. And then I'm going to go put this on the stove. Do not start the stove, just put it on there, because if you start this and leave it on, you're going to have scrambled eggs, because that's literally what that is, lemon-flavored scrambled eggs. I'll show you how to cook that up later, but for now we're just going to next we're going to deal with not breaking things, the egg. Now for this, I forgot to mention, you're going to want to have a little bit of aerosol cooking spray. Some people use the butter flavored, some people use the canola flavored, but I use, you know, whatever, because it doesn't really make a difference. Hate me. Okay, so you just want to spray the glass or the metal, whatever you're using, you're going to want to spray it because you don't want your egg to stick. Next, we're going to take an egg. I'm going to try to do this not messily on camera, but we're going to break the egg. Try not to break the yolk. There you go. Nice and tidy. Okay, at this point we're going to take our frying pan, this one that I have here, and we're going to fill it partially with water. I'm going to try to let you see how much water I'm adding, but it's kind of hard on camera. A little more than halfway, but enough so that when you put the egg glass dish in there, it doesn't cover with water. You don't want water getting into your Eggs Benedict dish. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken our glass egg dish with the egg in it, and I've set it right in the water, but as you can see, there's a good distance between the water and the brim of the glass. You don't want any water getting in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a pot cover on it, but if you don't have one, you can use a plate to put over it. That's a little bit ghetto, but you know, you use what you got. And then at this point, you would turn the back burner onto high. And you're going to let that boil in there. But for now, I'm not going to turn on the stove yet because there's still a bit for me to show, and I don't want this getting out of hand while I'm not looking. But that's what you would do at this point, is you would turn it up to high on the burner that your thing is on. Don't forget that. Okay, so next what we're going to do is we're going to take out our cutter. Now, you can use, again, whatever you want to use, but I have the top of a plastic drink lid. It's nice. It's a nice size. You want to make sure it's big enough because we're going to put our egg right on top of the things we cut out. But, so now we're going to take out our one slice of bread. If you have more than one person you're cooking for, you're going to want to use 2 of these. You'll see why. Now you're going to take out your cutout and you're going to make sure you get that bread nice and flat. And then you're going to press down on it. And then try to lift around it. Make this as neat as you possibly can because it is a really fancy, nice dish for breakfast, and it's really impressive if you do it right. So, there we go. Nice round piece of bread. That's nice. I'll put that to the side. And then we're gonna take out our, I have deli turkey here, but again, you can use ham or you can use like bacon. You can use pretty much whatever kind of meat you want here. Please, like, no bologna or weird stuff like that. But you do what you gotta do. This dish will literally make any kind of deli meat fancy. Just try not to gross anybody out. And if you're wondering what I do with the scraps, I do have a purpose for those. I'm not just throwing those away. Nice piece of round deli turkey. And then lastly, our cheese. Again, I use American cheese, but you can use whatever kind of cheese you want to if you're fancy like that. But I like to use the kind of ingredients that are common in households because this is the kind of meal you would make, you know, if you run out of maple syrup, you can't make pancakes, or if you, I don't know, too lazy to make an omelet, something like that. This is a lot of work, but it's a beautiful meal and it's very impressive if you're making some food for someone you actually care about, you know. So I've layered up our foods here. This is how it's gonna look. You can't see. This is how it's gonna look on the final dish, but what I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna take the turkey and the cheese and put it off to the side, and I'm actually going to grill this up. I have a little George Foreman grill. You don't have to do this. You can leave the bread the way it is, but I like to toast it beforehand. Also, what you can do is you can leave the bread whole, like the whole piece of bread before you cut it, and put it in the toaster and then cut it out. You can do it however you like, but I like to grill it like this to put nice grill marks on it. So I'll be right back. Okay, so as you can see at this point, I've moved over here. I've turned up, you can't actually see that, I've turned up the burner too high, and when you lift your lid or plate, whatever, just try to make sure no water gets into your dish. But eventually that'll start boiling. It'll make a lot of noise, but don't worry, it's okay. But I have that going. There we go, and as you can see here, I have my saucepan out, and I'm just gonna turn, not that you can see, but I'm gonna turn it down to a simmer. I'm gonna let it start cooking, and as as it starts to get warm, or even beforehand, I'm gonna drop about a tablespoon, hear me, a tablespoon of butter into the mixture. I don't put it in right away because it kind of congeals with it, but as it starts to get warm, I like to add it because it melts in together. So, I'm gonna let that simmer for a little while, but please, please, please make sure to watch this, because this will go from sauce to scrambled eggs in a minute. So watch that. Continue to stir it. That's why we have the whisk. Rarely used in cooking, but that's why we have the whisk, is to just mix it around. Don't be afraid to be a little violent with it. Keep it from turning into scrambled eggs. So keep an eye on that, and we'll continue cooking. Okay, so this is going to cook fairly quickly. You're going to want to keep an eye on this, and I'm going to see if I can bring this closer just for you guys to see. In here you can see the egg, and it's going to turn white. And wait, I'm going to try to bring this closer so you can see if it'll work, because I don't plan ahead. I'm a very poor planner. It's going to start to, whoa, very close up. It's going to start to turn white, and the middle is going to have this orangish color. And I know this isn't kosher, but you're going to want to poke it, see if it's firm. If it's firm around the edges of the orange center, it's done. Take it off. You don't want it to cook anymore. So I'm going to go take this off. Okay, now that the egg is off, I'm going to let you see the sauce. Now, if you've done this right, it should be a nice creamy, it's a little bit thick, but it's a nice creamy yellow sauce. It'll spread right over. So let's take this off the stove now before it turns into scrambled eggs. Okay, so this is where the magic is going to happen if we've done everything right. Right here we have our grilled bread with the cheese and the turkey. I like to layer it like that so they don't slide around. Now, wish me luck that this goes well. This is the egg. It's still very hot. I'm burning my fingers. And if this goes well, I'm just gonna try to make this work for me. Ready? Ready? Almost. There we go. Little magic. Look at that. Beautiful, right? But we're not quite done yet because we still have our hollandaise sauce. If I'm calling that the right thing. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the pan, and if you've done it right, it's creamy. And you're going to drizzle it right over the top of it. Be very generous with it. There we go. Try to get all of it there because that's a delicious sauce. Put that in the sink. Bring that a little closer, and this is when you're going to take out your spices. I have black pepper. I have parsley all over the top. Don't be too generous with the spices because you don't want to overpower the actual sauce, but it's a good spice to have. I'm going to use a little bit of garlic powder on the top of it. Just a tiny bit, just for flavor. Don't go crazy, okay? And then my special ingredient, which is a little sriracha powder, right over the top. Not only does it give it a good taste, but it also gives it a gorgeous color. Oh! Yep, that was my head. Oh, wow. Okay, concussion. Brain. Yep, okay, I dropped the lid, went to pick it up. Oh, and that was my forehead on the counter that you heard. Bonk! Okay, anyway, before I completely lose my mind, this is Eggs Benedict. So it's a gorgeous dish, completely beautiful, and it's delicious. So Southwood Angel, this is how you make Eggs Benedict. This is how I make it, at least. You can actually go to a professional and find out how to make it. But this is how I make it. And all of you who watch, oh, blah, brain. All of you who are watching, I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed cooking with Story today. And I hope you try making this for yourself, and I hope you like it. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video, assuming I'm not in the hospital.